Well, today we're out here at beautiful Dale Hall Lake, and I'm with Greg Brizendine of Dusk Dawn Guide Service. Hey, we got a little bit of rain we're going to battle today, but you know what? I'm super excited to watch you and participate in the float and fly method. I know you have perfected it, and it's a great technique for catching large suspended smallmouth bass, isn't it?
That's correct, and we should have some luck today, hopefully.
You know, it's late winter. This is the time of year that you like to use this technique. I know you're doing some things a little different now. You've gone away from some of the hair jigs.
Yes, I have. I've caught 3 fish over 6 pounds in my lifetime. 2 of them have been on the bait we're going to be using today, which is a 2.5-inch piece of plastic.
Float and fly is a technique that's really good in the wintertime, but it's also really effective when it's hard to catch them other ways, like suspending fish, right?
And that's what we're targeting, is suspended fish.
And
yes.
A lot of people struggle catching suspended fish because it's really hard to hold your bait in that strike zone. But when you got a bobber on the top and a leader, you can kind of go, okay, the fish look like they're in 12 feet of water. We just want to be 12 or shallower, right?
Correct. You always want to be above the fish, yes, because if you've ever looked at a fish very much, 90% of them, their eyes are towards the top of their head, so it's designed for them to be looking up.
If you're a bass fisherman and you go, yeah, maybe this is not the way I want to fish every day. If you're fishing for suspended fish and you're struggling catching fish, this is a technique you need to give a try.
Yes, most definitely. It's been a proven technique for years now. Float and flying, I was told that it was developed over in East Tennessee by crappie fishermen, and they ended up catching smallmouth bass more than the crappie, and they spread it all over eastern Kentucky and then into central, and it's been around for a long time, and it's the deadliest method that I know how to use to catch large fish.
There you go. Pretty fish. Right where he's supposed to be. Well, that was the first bobber that went straight down. I had one earlier, but I missed a fish.
Right.
This is the kind of fish we were talking earlier that would be a hard fish to locate and fish unless you were using some type of bait that you could sink down and count it down.
Right.
But then it's hard to fish it this slow.
Exactly.
You can fish it really slow at a certain depth, and that's what it took.
I don't know of any other method you could fish it any slower.
Well, that's a good fish, a beautiful fish. Typical Dale Hollow fish, they got a lot of black in them.
Yes.
Nice job. Swimming right to us.
Oh, he's gonna show us. Yeah, that's
About the same
about
fish.
another twin, I believe.
There you go.
I believe yours is a little heavier. Let's see what we got here. He even come up and jumped a little for us.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
There you go. About the same fish that you caught, I believe.
This fish, as you can see, the vertical bars on him are really pronounced. Where the fish I just caught, they were more blended in. That has a lot to do with how much oxygen that they use out of their bodies while they're fighting, because I don't think they breathe well while they're fighting.
It's not real thick in this area, but look at that belly.
It's very possibly it could be a female.
I enjoy catching fish like this because when you have a 9 or 10 foot rod doubled over with 8-pound test on it, you're trying to get a fish that wants to jump and run under the boat.
Right. You got your hands full, don't you?
It's a tussle.
And you can feel every movement that fish makes with that pole. I mean, you don't miss nothing. I mean, that's the ultimate fight that there is.
Let's get it back in. The old float and fly coming alive for us. Check out that eagle right there on that rock.
There's something down there.
He just grabbed something.
He grabbed something. He sure did.
Grabbed him a fish.
A minnow or something, didn't he?
You got that eagle named?
No, but I should. I mean, I see them all the time. There's a pair of them down here on this end of the lake. I've seen them a lot in the last few weeks together. I've got photos of them sitting in the trees together. Usually if they got eggs, one of them must stay there to keep the eggs warm. They don't usually leave.
Those eagles, they usually follow you around because they know that you know where the fish are at.
All right.
Well, look at there. Those greenfish like that, that little plastic jig too.
They do.
This is a good size, healthy largemouth, but I have seen people catch 4 and 5 pounders. I'm sure you've seen it a lot.
Oh yeah, pretty for a largemouth here.
Nice job. So Greg, if someone wanted to come out and try this technique out, what's some tips that you'd give them as far as, obviously you need a long rod, but give me some other
Correct.
things that you'd consider before coming out and trying this.
Well, one of the main things I would consider is this gentleman right here. This is a center-weighted bobber. You can do this without it. It's just an aid in detecting strikes. If it doesn't have weight pulling it down, it won't stay upright. It will lay over on its side. That being center-weighted.
So this center-weighted bobber, the way it sets up there, if a fish comes up and takes it from the bottom, you're saying it will roll over like this, and you know.
If you ever see both colors, that float's telling you that you're either on the bottom or something is pushing up on that bait, which is a strike indicator is what it is.
A lot of times they'll come up and just take the weight of the jig off, which is very light.
We're fishing with a 16-ounce lead head, so yes, it is light. I mean, they're little. You don't need a lot to suspend that bait. You just need something that will keep the plastic from floating.
So as far as how long the leader is, that's different every day, I guess.
Well, I want to be above them. If the fish are suspended up real close to the bank, I may not throw but up like an 8-foot leader. But when they're off the bank a little bit, anywhere from 10 to 12.
Oh, here we go, fish on.
Here he comes.
Uh-oh. Come on in there.
There we go.
There you go. That's about exactly like the other one. It's a solid 3-pound fish,
Yes,
isn't
it
it?
is. Look how little that mouth is on that. That's pure smallmouth right there.
That is. It's such a cool fish.
I love that color.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, they're in really good shape.
Yeah. So Greg, you and I fished several times before, and I know you obviously love to float and fly. We talked about throwing those hair jigs at night, which is your favorite thing to do.
Right.
We've showcased both
There you
of
go,
those.
bite. I hate that you got interrupted.
Oh, this interrupt me anytime you want when that bobber disappears.
I told you that time.
I was looking at you.
I know. I was watching your float. I love it.
Oh, it's a little nicer fish too.
Yeah. There we go.
Got it?
It's good.
There you go. Right there in the right there in the top of the lip.
This is perfect.
That's how you want it, isn't it?
Exactly. This style fishing right here, watching this float go under, then fighting the fish with this long, wimpy rod, these things are addictive.